Hey guys, alright, so this is part 2, and it says sometimes you have to multiply by a constant to eliminate a variable. Why are you allowed to multiply an equation by any number you want? So you know how we were multiplying in the first problem everything by -5, like in step 1? You're able to do that as long as you multiply every single part by that constant. You're still keeping that equation the same thing. So think of the equation like representing you, right? When you're little, you're a little equation. But then when you're growing up, you still are yourself, but you're just bigger, right? But it's still the same you. So that's the same thing. Even if I multiply by that same number, it's going to be the same line. So let's try these out here. So example 2, let's go 2a. I want to eliminate, I'm not quite sure, so let's look at that actual system here. So it doesn't look like any of the numbers are the same, right? I got a 3 and a 4 in front, okay, and then I have a 40 and a -10. So one thing I do like is I like the fact that the y's are already opposite signs, right? One's positive, one's negative. So I like that. So then I go to the smaller number, which is this guy, and I say, can I multiply that by some type of constant, some type of number to get to a 40? And I can, right? I can multiply everything in the top by a 4. Okay, so it looks like I want to eliminate the y's, and I'll multiply the top equation by a positive 4. Okay, so let's see what we get here then. We're going to get now a 12x, a -40y, and do not forget all the way to the end, -100. I'm going to copy the second one exactly the same. Look at again how I'm making sure that my x's are on top of each other, my y's are on top of each other, right? Be careful with your work. It's super important in elimination. Okay, and the process is to always add down. So 12x plus 4x, we get a nice 16x. The y's will cancel. And then I'm going to double check that -100 plus a 20. I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm going to use my resources. Okay, -80. I'm going to divide both sides by 16. So divide by 16. Nice. So I get x to be a -5. Again, I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm going to make my coordinate, it's an x, so it goes in the first slot. I know I have to figure out the y. So you have an option. You can go back to your original ones and pick whichever one looks nicer to you. For me, it's going to be that second one. So I'm going to rewrite that guy. 4x plus 4y equals 20. I know that x is equal to a -5, so I'm going to replace, I'm going to sub in, right, a -5 for the x spot. And let's solve. 4 times -5, -20. Copy everything else the same. Let's do some inverse operation. Let's add 20 to both sides. 40y is equal to 40, and last but not least, let's divide each side by 40, and we'll get y is equal to 1. Plug that into my actual coordinate, making sure I got my x and my y. Very nice. Okay, so let's try another one out, and let's go with B. So one thing I don't like is that the second equation is not in standard form, right? We need to technically take away 3y and move it over using inverse. So let's just copy the first equation. That one I like that it's in standard form. And then if we rewrote the second one, it's going to be now an x minus a 3y equals a 20. Perfect. Okay, so we'd try and figure out which one should we cancel. Again, I like to go and first try the ones that are opposite signs. It's up to you though. That one's always easier, I believe. So I'm looking at my y's. So I go to my smaller one, I notice, can I multiply this 3 by some constant to get to a 15? And I sure can. I can multiply everything by 5. Okay, so I'm going to do the work for this one underneath to see what that new one's going to be. So we get a 5x, negative 15y. Ooh, 5 times 20. I want to do that on my calculator. Ooh, 100. Very nice. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite these two equations and see how do I add these. You know, you could just go like this and kind of see. Let's add these two together and see what do we got. Let's move this guy up a little bit for making it easier for us here. Okay, so adding these two, I get a 7 plus a 5. What do we get? A 12x. The y's are going to cancel and I get 132. Let's divide both sides by 12. You guys are pros at this. 132 divided by 12, get a nice 11. Let's set ourselves up, start that coordinate. We found the x, goes in the first slot. Then you are able to pick one of the two original ones that look easiest to you. I'm just going to grab the second one. I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to plug in that 11 for the x spot, right, using like substitution. And let's solve for that y. So let's subtract 20 on both sides. I'm going to double check what that is. 11 minus 20, negative 9. Awesome. Goes 3y. Divide both sides by 3. And we get y is equal to a negative 3. And I'm going to put that into my coordinate, my mature answer. Awesome, guys. Let's try at least one more, okay? So let's go into C. You're on a roll here. I want to eliminate, okay, let's see, what do we got? So I noticed that the step 0, right, they're in perfect standard form, okay? All right, so, when I look at the y's and I go to the smaller one, because I notice they're opposite signs, I can't multiply 2 to get to a 3. So I'm going to try the x's. The smaller one is a 6. Can I multiply that by anything? 6 times 3. No, 6 times 4. Hey, 6 times 4. Okay, so we can multiply this guy by 4. But remember, they have to be opposite signs. So I'm going to multiply by a negative 4, so it becomes a negative 24. So let's see, what do we get here? The new guy is going to be a negative 24x. Positive 12y. Ooh, negative 4 times a negative 36. Positive 144. Awesome. So I'm going to go on this side. I'm going to rewrite these. Top one looked good already in the beginning. I'm going to rewrite that new guy now underneath. And again, make sure they're perfectly underneath, guys. It's so important when it comes to elimination. And let's get to work here. Adding straight down. So the x's will cancel. We get a nice 14y equals, I'm going to check 144 plus a 52. That's 196. Let's divide both sides by 14. And we get a y is equal to, let's divide by 14. Ooh, nice 14. Let's set our solution up. We solved for y. That is the second slot. And then go back to the original, guys, and see which ones do you want to substitute that 14 in. I'm going to pick the top guy just because it doesn't have negatives. I'm feeling positive for today. So let's go in and plug in that 14 into that y spot. 24x plus 2 times 14, 28 equals 52. Let's subtract 28 on both sides to get 24x is equal to, let's go 52 minus 28. Oh, 24. Divide both sides by 24. And we get a nice x is equal to 1. Plug it into our coordinate. Graph it into Desmos. Make sure this is where the two lines intersect. Awesome job, guys. This is the end of day 5. Beyond proud of you. Make sure you have all this written down. Come to class with any questions over it, okay? Keep up the great work.